Okay, let's begin. This is an important one, I think, especially for all of us who practice Kum Nye and we want to bring it into our everyday life, which I think is probably everybody, isn't it? So we've been talking up until now about health. Today we move on to resilience, but in a Kum Nye perspective, you can nearly not separate them, but let's try. So by resilience, we can mean the ability to withstand and to recover. So be able to bounce back or return to a state of well-being, even when we're challenged. And the inspiration for today is a Netflix documentary. Well, it's Kum Nye, of course, combined with a Netflix documentary about a lady called Johanna Nordblad, who's from Finland. And she broke the record for the longest breath hold swim under ice. So that a lake is frozen over, she swims 103 meters under the ice, which is mad, isn't it? Even I think that's mad, and I've got quite a threshold for madness. But yeah, extraordinary and a little bit crazy. But then you get to know the story. Actually, Johanna broke her leg, badly broke her leg, and they managed to put it back together. But as she was trying to recover, medication didn't touch it. And fortunately for her, she discovered cold water therapy. So she started putting her injured leg into the cold water, and it made a huge difference. So she put the other leg in, and then of course it went from there. She got in a whole body. And maybe I should say, as a child in the local swimming pool, it had a very deep, deep end to the swimming pool. And she used to sit on the bottom of that and look up at everybody swimming above her. So obviously she had a real affinity with water from a young age. And then through needing the cold water for therapy for her leg, found it was therapy for her whole being. So I went from being thinking this was a little bit crazy to having a lot of admiration for her. But then she said something that really made a big difference for me and really made a connection with Kum Nye as well. So the quote is, Johanna said, when relaxed, cold just feels cold. Even if the feeling is intense, it is not pain. When not relaxed, the cold feels freezing. The only option is accept the cold. So we know this from our Kum Nye practice. It's about direct experience. It's about staying with the feeling before the label. So before it becomes pain, staying with the feeling, even if it's intense. So staying in the body rather than going into the head, judging, commenting. When relaxed, she said. So that was her attitude. That is her attitude as she completes these amazing feats. She's not being tensed up. It's not me against the world attitude. It's about yielding, accepting, a calmness and an openness. And just to explain the practicalities of her swim a little bit, there's a hole in the ice where she gets in. And then every 20 meters or so, there's a porthole. That's her option to come up if she needs to. There's safety divers down there as well. So she drops down and then she swims across and she has these options to come up. And the final one was 103 meters, which was the world record. So what kept her going? Can you imagine swimming and passing each one? Will I, won't I? No. That's exactly what wasn't going on in her head, I'm sure. So there was the relaxation, but there was also a focus and an open concentration. So there needs to be a concentration, but not too tight. And many people who do extreme sports like this, they talk about it's like breaking through into another world or a world within a world where they feel immersed in peace. There's a stillness, there's a presence. It's almost like that's when life makes the most sense. They feel a sense of completeness and wholeness. Unfortunately, you have to risk your life. Many people have to risk their life in order to feel alive in that way, which is where Kum Nye comes in. It's not life or death, but it can, hopefully, but it can have the same, it can make a similar shift in our way of being. So we can break through out of a grayness or a dullness or an indifference to a richer, healthier, and more fulfilling way of being. So it's like we come out of the clouds, we lose the clouds, but we gain the sky. We glimpse the sky-like nature of our mind. So let's begin with our intention, our resolve. Maybe in this context, we could talk about it as our resolve, making a commitment in a certain direction, having resolve, having intention. It's for our own health and well-being and for resilience. And I'm sure for many of us, we don't have to be breaking records, breath hold swimming under ice to be challenged. Life is enough, often, isn't it? So can we have the health and resilience to face the challenges of our life? And if we want a goal, and goals are helpful, then we can remember that we all have the seed of enlightenment. We all have this fundamental goodness, a potential for enlightenment, which is a lasting happiness free from suffering. So may our practice move us in that direction. May it ripen that seed. Okay, all this talk about swimming under ice, we're probably feeling cold. Let's do energizing the hands, just rubbing the palms together. If you like, spreading your fingers like we did the last time. So spreading your fingers wide and apart and just rubbing the palms together. And they very quickly become warm. And let that warmth flow down your arms, to your shoulders, to your heart. As we rub the palms together, rub the back of one hand, the back of another, palms together again, holding the hands out. Feel the warmth in the hands, the feelings, sensations in the fingers, maybe like a little flame on the tip of each finger, warmth in the palms of the hands. Let that move through your wrists, your elbows, your shoulders, to your heart center. And from the heart center up the spine into your head, warming, soothing the area behind your eyes, your forehead, your jaw. And let the heat from the heart center move down the body, down the spine, to the pelvis, and to the lower body. Then let your hands come slowly down to rest palms down on your knees or your thighs. So if we're going to do the Kum Nye version of breaking records in extreme circumstances, we need to warm up. We need to, our throat center needs to be open and flowing. So let your chin come down towards your chest. We're going to very briefly do lightning thoughts, number 17, and then lifting your chin till you're looking straight ahead, and then let the chin continue up until your chin is pointing towards the ceiling. and then down. Continue this up-down movement a few more times. Feeling the movement and moving with feeling. Let the breath flow easily through mouth and nose. And slow the movement down a little. So whatever speed you were moving, slow it down a little, and maybe we feel more. We have light attention on the breath and in the movement. And the next time you're looking straight ahead, just pause there for a moment. And you still feel the warmth in your hands. Can you be aware of your whole body as we sit, feeling the ground beneath us, feeling our hands on our knees or our thighs, sitting upright and alert yet relaxing. Alert yet relaxing. There's this, just like Johanna had during her swim, there has to be the relaxation, but there has to be focus and concentration in balance. We can do remarkable things when we're relaxing and we have open concentration. So then tip your head to the left side, so your left ear moves in the direction of the left shoulder, and then bringing the head back up to the center, and then to the right side, and up to the center. Continue this side to side movement. Again, feeling the movement and feeling the breath as it comes and goes. Shoulders are low and relaxing. And the next time your head is tipped to the left side, just pause there, the head hanging loosely under its own weight. Feel the right side of the neck lengthening a little from the right ear to the right shoulder. Relax in the posture, in the moment. Usually we wait until something is over before we relax. Can we relax here and now? Both shoulders, relaxing the belly and the sides of the body. And then slowly lifting the head back to the center. And then to the right side. And again, pausing with the head tipped to the right side, relaxing in the moment, in the posture, dropping any resistance in the mind, any tension in the body. Feeling the lengthening on the left side of the neck from the left ear to the left shoulder without straining. And then lifting the head back up to the center. Take a moment to feel the difference. No judgment, no commentary, just being with any feeling, any sensation stimulated by this movement. So Kum Nye is safe and slow and subtle, but it can have a big impact. It can change our way of being by coming out of our head and into our whole body. And by staying with the breath, we're present in the moment. So if our attention is in the whole body, we're spacious. There's more space. There's more time. It's like time opens up. And if we're feeling the coming and going of the breath, then we're in time, in the present moment. Let's complete this series of 3 movements called lightning thoughts with the head rotations. So just let your head come forward a little, and then moving the head on top of the neck, rotate around to the right and back. If you have any neck or spine issues or are pregnant, you do this very gently. We can all do it gently, actually. Why not? Doesn't have to be a big movement. The head rotating on the top of the neck. And feel how this movement massages both sides of the neck, the throat and the back of the neck. Let any holding in the shoulders melt and soften. And let the breath continue, soft, slow, and even. Especially let the breath continue when we get to any places where there's holding, where there's some stiffness or tension. Move slowly through it. And the next time your head is forward, pausing there, and then begin the rotations in the opposite direction. Breath continues soft, slow, and even. Next time your head is forward, pausing there for a moment. And when you're ready, slowly lifting the head until it's balancing on top of an upright spine. Feel the posture. You may like to begin with your eyes closed, feeling the posture, seeing inwardly with the eyes of the senses, feeling. Can you be aware of the whole body? And perhaps within that there's certain highlights, places where there's a toughness or a holding, or maybe agitation, where the energy in the body has been stimulated by the movement. We can just bring light attention to wherever there's feeling or sensation, light attention and the breath. And in Kum Nye, we breathe through mouth and nose. So the mouth is just slightly open. So there's an even amount of air entering the body through mouth and nose. And we feel that. And we feel the belly swell on the inhale. And we feel the belly flatten as we exhale, also through mouth and nose. This balances the head and the heart, integrates body and mind. And if you have your eyes closed, you may like to try opening your eyes, resting with a soft gaze. So we're not looking at anything, we're seeing everything, but nothing in particular. So even our looking is relaxing. Maybe we find when we stop looking, we begin seeing. Seeing with a panoramic quality. We're lucky. If we were swimming under ice, distraction is not an option. But when we're practicing like this, distraction is not fatal. As soon as we realize we've been distracted, we're already back. So we just begin again. That's the training, coming back. Okay, so let's slowly come to standing. We're going to begin testing our own, how we are when we're under pressure, when we're facing challenges, with kindness and interest. And maybe it's a good time to say that, or remind that when Johanna was training, she literally just at the beginning dipped her toes in the water. And then at the bottom of her garden, she cut a little swimming pool in the ice and went up and down. So it was baby steps. So we'll do the same. The other thing was she postponed the first attempt because she wasn't feeling right. So whenever we're doing Kum Nye, we're just very much in touch with ourselves and how we're feeling. And we know if we need to take it easy, not push too hard, or maybe we feel good and strong and we're ready to challenge ourselves a little bit. So you know your body best. Your body is your truest guide, and so listen to your body. Let's do a little warm up. So with our feet wider apart, just rotating the hips and reversing the rotation. Some of us are quite familiar with this movement, this warm up, but bring a quality of freshness to it. Feel the movement as if you were doing it for the first time. And then feet together, hands on knees, bending and straightening the legs and making circles with the knees. Chest up, looking straight ahead. Feeling that movement. Reversing the rotation. And then coming back to standing. Feet a comfortable distance apart. Hands on our hips. Lifting our right heel. So we're standing on our left foot and the toes of our right foot. As the right heel comes down, lift the left heel. And again, just continue this stepping from side to side. Just bringing some life and energy into our lower body. And you move smoothly and in balance at all times. Coming back to standing. Keeping our hands on our hips for a moment. Aware of any energy stimulated in the feet and the lower legs. Our elbows are nice and wide. Feel the breadth of our chest and across the back. Nice and wide, nice and open. Relaxing our hands, so our arms relaxing by our sides. Weight evenly distributed across both feet, left and right, heels and toes. The knees are soft, slight bend in the knee. So we're going to do an exercise again, many of us are familiar with energizing the lower body. So you need to take particular care if you have any issues with your knees or any issues with the lower body. You know best. So don't feel you have to push it to feel the benefit. We just a slight movement, a subtle movement can make a big difference when we're aware of our breath and the breath awareness is in the body. So that's the key thing, not how much you move, but the quality of your attention in the movement. So for this exercise, we have our feet a little wider apart, maybe shoulder width or a bit wider apart. And the toes are turned out a little. The hands are resting on your thighs with the thumbs facing forward. The toes are out a little, so when we bend the knees will go out over the toes, not bending inwards in this way. They go out over the toes. So just get that angle right. So you look down to your feet and check that that's working okay. And then look up again with a soft gaze, as we did earlier. And we keep our back straight and upright throughout the movement. So maybe we don't bend the legs too far. Our weight is evenly distributed on both feet and the back straight. And then we lower by bending the knees, looking ahead with a soft gaze and letting the breath continue light, soft and even. And we lower to the place where we feel like energy is strongly activated in the body. Before we lose balance, there's a place where we feel energy in the lower body. Relax the pelvic floor. So relaxing the genital and anal areas. So there's tension probably in the legs, in the thighs, maybe the knees. If it becomes pain, you're doing too much. So come up a little. The breath is relaxing, relaxing the pelvic floor. And staying in the body with the feeling. So we're not going into our head, judging, commenting. As Johanna says, what does she say? Even if the feeling is intense, don't label it as pain. Stay with the feeling. And slowly straightening, feeling that movement. And walking your feet back together. Relaxing for a few moments, standing easy with our attention in the body, with any feeling stimulated by the movement. So that was just a little warm up for us. So let's enjoy a pause as we feel the sensations stimulated by holding that posture. Relax the belly. Let any feelings in the lower body move into the upper body. I like to imagine the feeling traveling up my spine and radiating out in all directions, all around, above and below. So when we're doing an exercise like this, we want to distinguish between discomfort and pain. Discomfort's fine. That's a little bit what we're training with. If it becomes painful or unhelpful, because we're only training, then we can come out of the exercise. We don't push too hard. The same with warmth. We will feel warmth generated, but if it becomes strong heat, then maybe it's not helpful for us at this time. So we come out of the exercise. Maybe just bring light attention to the base of the spine for a moment. Maybe there's a sensation of warmth there. If not, just imagine it and let that open and radiate in all directions. As if there's a source of warmth or light, the base of your spine and your pelvis radiating out in all directions. So we'll repeat the exercise one more time, and you have a sense of it now, how you're feeling today and how the exercise suits your body. So you decide if you want to stimulate more feeling, have your feet a little wider apart. If you need to take it gently, then have your feet a little closer and don't lower too much. So getting our stance ready, toes turned out a little, hands on our upper thighs, thumbs forward. Looking ahead with a soft gaze. The back is straight, weight evenly distributed on both feet as we lower. Relaxing the pelvic floor. We lower to a place where energy is strongly activated in the legs, but we relax the rest of the body. And that relaxation is supported by soft, slow, and even breathing and a soft gaze. And staying with the feeling, so we're experiencing the feeling directly, not filtering it through thoughts and thinking. We're not deciding like or dislike, good or bad. Stay with the feeling. We may be able to penetrate the feeling with our breath and our awareness and release the energy within the tension, within the holding. Another 10 seconds. Relaxing in the posture, here and now. Slowly straightening, as slow as you can, a millimeter at a time. Walking your feet back together. Relaxing with your arms by your sides. Soft knees, relaxing belly, chest and throat. Resting with our attention in the body. It can be quite an interesting place to be. Yeah? We don't need distraction. We don't need any more. Our attention is with the breath and in the body. And maybe as we stand, we feel knotted up energies, loosening and releasing. So held energy begins to flow. And maybe there's other areas that are quite agitated, quite bubbly. Just by bringing light attention to those places, it calms the energy. So calming what's agitated, awakening what's dormant, creating an internal balance. So now let's have a little look at 105, exercise 105, heart gold thread. One of the most amazing Kum Nye exercises and very good for our purpose today. Just looking at how we are when we're under pressure, when we're a little bit challenged, and how things work, like the mechanism, how quickly we go to judgment. So standing, well balanced, evenly distributed, weight evenly distributed, soft knees, and lifting gently through the crown of the head. Feel the chin come in a little, the back of the neck align with the spine, and then let your hands come slowly out and from your sides and up until they're a little above shoulder height. And the elbows are slightly bent. So the hands a little above shoulder height and the arms aren't locked straight. Let's say soft elbows, slight bend in the elbows. And if you're okay to do this with balance, close your eyes, otherwise leaving your eyes softly open, maybe with the gaze angled downwards. Bring awareness and concentration to your heart center. And feel the blood pumping through the body. If keeping your hands at this height is tricky, then you can lower them a little. No, if I shouldn't say if it's tricky. If it's too much or not possible, you can just have your hands lower. If it's very painful, then you lower your hands. If it's just a little bit discomfort, then staying with the feeling, not going into thinking about it. We can send energy from our heart center out through the arms and the hands. So imagine a flow of energy from your heart center out through your arms and your hands. You may want to wiggle your shoulders a little, just loosening the muscles at the top of the shoulder joint. That'll make it easier to hold the posture. Once you've done that, then back to stillness. The breath is light and even through mouth and nose. And in this exercise, we're encouraged to notice weak or tense areas of the body and to notice times when we lose strength and focus and want to give up. And bring that feeling to your heart center. If you feel fear or pain, bring this feeling into your heart center and touch it with concentration and awareness. So for me, this exercise, instead of sending everything up into the head for judgment, we send it to the heart. Send it to the heart. So we can send it to the heart center. Touch the feeling with concentration and awareness. So in the book, it says we do this for 10 minutes. We're just going to do it for another minute more. So relax with that news. Smile into the news. If you feel fear or pain or discomfort, before we've even labeled it as such, we bring this feeling into the heart center. Whatever feeling we're feeling, bring it to the heart center. Breathing light and even, mouth and nose. And now very slowly, take at least half a minute to let your arms come down to your sides. By doing this slowly, then we're releasing tension in our upper arms and shoulders as we go. Relaxing with our arms by our sides. Regardless of how well you did in that exercise or how much of a failure you think you were, just drop that. Stay with the feeling in the body. With practice, we develop self-understanding. We can watch how we are under pressure. We can notice moments when we feel weak or tense, and we can begin to make friends with those feelings. Maybe not today, but we made a good start. Relaxing with our arms by our sides. And probably we've really stirred the pot this morning, energizing the lower body, the first exercise we did, and now heart gold thread. So there's almost certainly a lot of feeling, a lot of sensation in the body. So let's return to the ultimate Kum Nye gesture, the 7 gestures or the sitting posture. So making our way slowly back to our cushion, aware of our breath and our movement. So in Kum Nye, we always want to give enough time for stillness afterwards. We begin with stillness, we return to stillness. So this is where the energies settle and balance. So remember the qualities we need to do remarkable things. Relaxation, but not flaky. So we want relaxation and a concentration, a focus, a concentration in balance. So not too flaky, not too tense. So as we sit, we try and, or we settle into that balance. Relaxing, enjoying, no pressure, but alert, awake, alive. Breathing through mouth and nose. Feel the belly. Feel the breath enter the belly. Swells a little. There's a natural pause after the inhale. As we exhale, the belly flattens. There's a natural pause after the exhale. So a smooth coming and going of the breath. And we're not watching that, we're feeling it. We're right in there, feeling the breath. Feeling the breath and aware in the body. And once we feel centered in that, we have our eyes open. We're also aware of the space around us without being distracted. So we're coming into touch with a fundamental well-being, a deep down well-being. Even if there's dramas on the surface, waves on the surface, it doesn't disturb our equanimity. So even as we're sitting, we can use the guidance for the last exercise. Notice weak or tense areas in our body, or notice times when we lose focus or want to give up. Bring these feelings, these moments into our heart center and touch it with concentration, a light concentration and awareness. So whatever our experience, we can practice bringing it into our heart and touching it with light awareness. One more minute. And unlike Johanna Nordblad, we're not holding our breath. Enjoy a few breaths. Feel the breath. Sweet breath coming and going. So as we come to the end of our session now, we dedicate. We can do that with the closing gesture. So wishing for ourselves health and well-being, resilience, the ability to withstand and transform challenges in our lives. And we can wish that for others, those close to us, family, friends, colleagues, neighbors, and then as we open our arms, including everybody. Okay, thank you. Have a good few days and see you next time.